All right. Welcome everyone to episode 32 of Growth Talk. We're here with Mingdi today. Mingdi, how you doing, man?
Hello, I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing fantastic. So Mingdi is double feminine SITI, sleep consume, play blast. And yeah, I got to be honest, man. There's not too many of y'all out there. There's not too many SITIs out there.
Yeah, there's not definitely not. But I feel like there's been a few more because I talked to I don't know some more people have kind of come in.
Oh, that's
Uh,
good.
so
Yeah.
it's just kind of nice getting to know people that are similar to you.
Yeah. Do you have a type twin in the community?
I don't think so. I'm not sure if they have anyone typed, but I don't think there's anyone in the community so far. But
Yeah, y'all
they
are
probably have someone that's typed, but it's just not. I don't know where.
hiding somewhere. Yeah, y'all are rare,
Yeah.
but hard to find. Well, what do you think, or do you have an idea of why it's so underrepresented in the community? Is it just that type just doesn't exist that much, or just not drawn to this sort of thing, or?
Could be a combination. I think that maybe some types are more common than others,
Yeah,
but I feel like it's not enough. There's not enough info. There's missing info.
yeah, yeah. It seems to be. So, what comes to mind when you think about your type? Like, what would be like a description, or what thoughts about your own
And
type?
I overview, I guess, like
It doesn't even have to be an overview. You could just throw random shit at me. That also works too. Just
I think
whatever.
someone that seems to be well put together, but has like a lot of like I don't know chaos. Has like I don't like I guess uh struggling to blast, but like I guess like
I tell you, man. It's also blast
I
last.
don't know. It's kind of like I guess the EJs with like the double masculine EJs that can have like a really feminine FI, but for me it's more like someone that seems like well has like everything in order, but actually doesn't basically.
There's like two sides of you. There's like
Yeah,
yeah. I would imagine with feminine SI as well, right? Like that's kind of not the most organized function, despite it being
hmm
an organizer function.
it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is most it is like it seems like the modality or the masculine feminine charge on that has the most effect out of any function. You know what I mean? At least from
Yeah.
what I've seen. And I feel like feminine SI people get mistyped as NE a lot of times, which you were thinking before. Maybe you were not NE, but you were thinking NI potentially before you got typed, right?
Yeah, I was thinking, and I just because I'm not quite sure. It's been so long.
Yeah.
I think it's just because I was just aware of like the masculine NE, but I just not aware of it in a saver state.
Right. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. So like you said you had the upfront kind of organized, or well, maybe you didn't say organized, but like
Mm-hmm.
you got your shit together, everything. So what's the other side like?
It just feels kind of like a psychotic side. Like um, it feels like there's sometimes there's this video that Dave put out about like intrusive thoughts. It kind of feels like there's just sometimes just random crazy intrusive thoughts come in and like you're caught off guard because you're just like calm and just organizing stuff in reality right in your head, and then so when like these thoughts come up you think they're so real and it's hard to distinguish them between reality, so it's kind of feels like you have like a little bit of schizophrenia, uh but but um yeah, I wonder if schizophrenia has any correlation to demon masculinity, because
Mhm.
the definition of it kind of sounds like what we kind of go through. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no psychologist, but it seems like the intrusiveness in their mind is so real they have a hard time
Mhm.
distinguishing it from like what's actually true, right? To like an
Yeah.
intense degree. Yeah, yeah. I wonder about that. Did they do a video about mental illness? And no, or maybe they talked about doing a video. I don't know. I feel like that would not be
Not
like
sure.
so FE friendly, I guess. But I would love to hear. if they have. I'm sure
I think they have a few. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Don't remember them though.
Yeah. I mean, neither. Yeah. Okay. So really, intrusive thoughts, and they feel very real, and they come in a way where it feels like there's a lot of contrast, right? Because if everything's sort of chill and neat,
Yeah.
orderly, and then it's like even more like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
It's,
Okay.
The imbalance is, I guess, it's kind of similar to the EJ imbalance of like tough on tribe, and then like they actually like mini FI or whatever. But for me, it's more like the observations, like calm, like organized, and then super chaotic. And it's not. I'm still trying to balance that out more. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. So were these things present? Do you feel like when you were young as well? Was it kind of the same scenario, or do you feel? How do you feel about your type in regards to maybe how you were as a kid? Do you feel like you still fit into what your type now is? What you were, what your behavior was when you were young?
I think so. I remember as a kid, like there is times where it just felt like random times where it just felt like I was leaving my body, and it felt like I was, I guess. I guess if I was SI, I was like super grounded, right? So there were random times where it just felt like I completely lost control of the sensory world, and those times are really scary. And it happened a few times when I was little, but I never really knew what it was. And it wasn't until I guess after op and after like a few bad tidal waves that I became more aware that it was like, I guess, demon NE, if that's like a correct way of putting into terms.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's like an out of body experience, so like a more intense thing, probably what you experience now, I guess, huh?
Yeah. Now it seems kind of normal now because I just feel that from time to time, but I'm just like, okay, it's just being in the intuitive world. It's not that crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think like with those sorts of things, the more scared you get and the more you react to them, the more like kind of real that they end up becoming. And then I think they happen more that way rather than if you can kind of just be with them and have them kind of pass, like kind of like with meditation or something, right? Where just kind of you tend to reinforce what you resist, right? In some ways.
Yeah. And it's because you're not used to it at first that it's like so crazy. But I mean, for you, do you feel like do you like, as a double observer, do you feel like you kind of feel that at times, but it's not that, mind blowing to you because you can just go back and forth with observations?
I can't say I relate to the experience so much with like the intrusive thoughts and all that stuff. Maybe when I was really young, I think I would had a sort of like I wouldn't describe it as intrusive thoughts, more like just magical thinking about things. Maybe that's the demon in I, where it's like there's some kind of thing behind this, or like there's a curse, or there's like a almost like a lot of really like almost like, or I did have like OCD when I was young, or like at least symptoms that would you'd have in OCD, where you had this sort of magical thinking, like if I don't I don't know, wash my hands 20 times, then somebody is going to die or something crazy like that. So that sort of stuff I would have when I was young. But yeah, I got over that. And so yeah, maybe it's kind of similar with demon intuition, but maybe a different.
Different I think it's it's pretty similar to that.
Yeah,
pretty similar.
Yeah. So now I don't know. I don't really have anything like that, or any weird thoughts or things like that, or anything. But like, I've been meditating for like 12 years now or something. So I think that's probably helped a lot, to where it's, if I do have a weird thought, then it's just a thought. It doesn't matter. Your brain just throws shit out at you. It doesn't mean that
makes sense.
it means anything. It's just your brain trying to process stuff. You know what I mean? It throws it out there to see how you react to it, to see if it needs to be processed or not. And if you don't react to it, then it doesn't come back. You know, if you don't react to it enough times. At least that's been my experience with that.
Yeah, same. It's I guess learning about op and other stuff just kind of makes you realize that it's just all coming from you. So,
yeah, absolutely, that's true. So what does SI look like when you're like really young? Because I feel like this seems like a more adult function, to be honest. Like, you feel like you had some of those stereotypes, or what? Like, how did you relate to SI?
You know, like what's funny? Like I recently, like I went back home and I was reading like my journals as a kid, and like the way I kind of everything is just like so sensorily clear. Like I did this, and then I did this, and then I did this, and like today I played with my friends, and I went home, and my mom was mad at me, like stuff like that. So it was very like, sensorily clear. I don't know how what I actually did that was SI, but like the way I phrased stuff was.
The way you phrase stuff, yeah, I'm probably closer to the way you were experiencing stuff. It's like then this, then this,
yeah,
then this, and then this, and that's kind of what you were paying attention to. Kind of. Does that help in school? By the way, like SI, do you think? Were you good? Were you good in school?
I was pretty good. Like, but I never really tried.
Yeah, that's same. That's the TI there.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how SI really played into it. I guess with math you can kind of like see how everything, the numbers are organized, and then you can logic it out. So it becomes pretty easy to understand. And then the NT part too. Yeah, basically.
Cool. So yeah, do you feel like it seems it's fairly clear what like Demon NE was like when you were young and now to some extent? What about FE? Do you feel like there were issues in that realm for you? Was that hard? Did that come into play in school or anything like that?
Yeah. Well, in some ways FE's like is harder to deal with than NE because it just felt like I didn't have permission to really use it. I think like
you didn't have permission to use FE.
Yeah, it felt weird, awkward, even though it was like the right thing to do. And at the same time, it also like kind of makes me kind of tribe blind, so like unaware of what others are feeling. Feels kind of like there's lack of connection, hard to connect with others because of that as a kid.
Okay, I mean that makes sense. I guess if you're a double decider, you're aware that you need to do it at least, but it's still it's not the easiest thing.
I'm aware of it, but it's like sometimes I compare it with my IP friends. I like do you know Chase?
Yeah, I know Chase.
Yeah, like the double feminine version of you. Like like I feel like he has better FE than me just because he cares about doing it. As a double decider, I can just like double decide my way through it. So I'm like, okay, I don't really care about doing FE, but then it comes back and like it's like, oh, yeah.
Because you're probably doing enough to where it's not messing up your life, right? I think it's the same with double observers and their third function. It's just like probably a lot of lead SEs do NI much better than I do. And I'm just like, do I really need it? I don't know.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. So it wasn't missing, but it was not the easiest thing to use. Yeah, I think if you're an IP and you're young, it's just gone. It's not even there. You don't even know it exists. What is this FE stuff? Feelings? What are those? Like I'm mad. Does that count? But you don't like being responsible for others' feelings or acknowledging them in any way. I think, at least for me, it just wasn't there.
It's something you had to like learn to develop over time.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think you just you get into so many conflicts, and you really want like to have friends and stuff, and you want things to be cool with the people you're around, and it's just not ever. And you just eventually you're like, why? Like,
and you don't know what to do about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you kind of use your TI, overuse your TI to try to like logic out how to do it, but it ends up like you just kind of get stuck because of that.
Yeah, totally. You come to some weird like logical conclusion as to why people aren't hanging out with you or whatever, and it's usually wrong.
Yeah.
Right? It's
the
like,
way
oh,
your
it's
brain
because
convinces you.
it's because I'm not good enough at basketball. That's why the kids don't like me. Clearly, it's something stupid. If you're an IP, it'll be something stupid like that. Like
it's because I didn't reply to this mess, or like I said this one thing in this group chat, and everyone hates me.
So that's even closer to FE than probably where I was even at. Probably something even further than that. But yeah, it definitely comes up where it's just yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, you kind of already, I guess, double deciding when you're young to some degree, even though it's not easy. Did you have any particular like tidal waves with NE or FE, like when you're young, or any particular things that kind of stand out? Comes to that?
Yeah, my tidal waves for FE are like a lot smaller, but they happen a lot more, I think. They kind of, it feels like sometimes I'm like overdoing TI, and I get like super confident about something, and then and then after I get tribe input, and it's like not what I was expecting, then basically it's like a hit to my ego. But then I kind of like, I don't know, something about how it's not my biggest problem, because I guess I check in with the FE enough, so that like frequently enough so that it's not a huge tidal wave. It's not like I'm doing TI for a year straight and then being like
or 5 years.
Now it's time to get the tribe input.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think like, well, that's good. You at least do get input. Yeah, I mean, if you could just not get any input at all and then find out the hard way after you worked on something for 5 years or something, and you may never recover from that.
Yeah,
man. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, being a hit to the ego for sure. That's horrible.
Yeah.
Well, any what do any tidal waves look like exactly, or do you have those?
So basically, if I'm like over planning too much, and I'm like, I'm like feel, especially when people are involved and it's kind of out of my control. Like in the past, I would definitely still, plan out, like if I wanted to go to the amusement park or something with my friends, I'd be like, okay, like this is definitely going to happen. I'm going to plan out all it in SI detail, and basically just like this tunnel of like it has to go this way, and then when it doesn't go like as I planned, then basically it kind of makes me, that causes the tidal wave of I think.
So like, what is that experience like when you have something so detailed out and then things just go wrong, left and right? Like what is that like?
It's like when you're just like super excited about something that you like, I'm not sure if you would relate, but just something that you're really anticipating for, and then like your birthday or something, and then maybe like the tribe doesn't react like in a positive way.
Yeah. Like they don't come, or
yeah, if they don't come. Except it's the observer version of it's not about the people, it's about the plan. The plan didn't happen.
Okay. So like it sounds like there's a sort of joy, or there's something you really get out of like it being like this. And like you're looking forward to it being like structured. So you get like you almost get like happiness from that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my savior addiction is just, planning things out, right? So it would make sense. But like as I've gotten a lot of tidal waves in the past few years, it kind of made me scared of doing that too much, because I know that especially when it comes to people, it's like kind of unpredictable. Like I feel like I can only really do planning for myself because I'm in control of it.
Yeah.
But
and like you'll know you'll follow the plan. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. No, that makes sense. I can't so much relate to taking joy out of having things, I guess, planned, but I can certainly relate to something being yanked away from me that I was really looking for. I hate that so much. Oh, that's the worst. I have a hard time rebounding from that.
Yeah.
And stuff like
It has
at
to do
work,
with
if I have like a chill week or something, like, oh good, this week at work, I just have these sort of things, and I really like doing this, and they're like, nope, you got to do this. It's like, like that's so painful. I hate that so much.
yeah.
Oh, okay. So I imagine that's what it's like for you. Is it scary or is it just painful or both?
Both, I guess.
You know.
Well, in the past, it wasn't scary because like I was just kind of just zoned into it, and it wasn't. It's like not until that it happens that I guess it caused pain. But it's just like a reoccurring cycle, and I kept on doing it. I guess now it causes it causes some anxiety when I realize that I'm doing it too much.
Okay. Because of past times that it's gone wrong, or is it like, fuck,
Mm-hmm.
is this gonna blow up again? It blew
Yeah.
up the last time I did this, and
Yeah, exactly.
okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I feel like since I joined OP, I've been constantly trying to get my head wrapped around like what exactly is like SI and trying to get rid of these like MBTI stereotypes, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
whether it's about the past or it's about making lists or something like
It's
that.
about lists. It's about history,
Yeah,
historical
yeah,
facts.
right. Yeah.
I don't
Can
remember
you,
anything like. Oh yeah.
were you into MBTI before? Are you aware of some of the?
Yeah, I
Yes,
was.
sounds like you are. Okay. What do you think? What is like the biggest myth that you can think of about SI that
I
comes with
mean,
MBTI that you're just like,
we kind of I guess learned. I don't know. I don't really remember the anecdotes from MBTI, but I know it's like orderly and you do things step by step, which is kind of true. I guess maybe the biggest one is I remember maybe like they are super they they're really good at history because they can remember all the facts and details on a timeline. But I feel like that's more masculine SI. As
right.
like a feminine SI, I can't remember like anything. I can't remember any details about anything.
God, it must be frustrating. It's like you're supposed to be in the details.
I'm supposed to trying to look in the past and trying to understand what happened in the past. Like when I'm self-reflecting, I guess the anecdote of us looking in the past is kind of true, but I wonder if everyone does that.
Could you maybe talk more about that? If people look in the past for,
I guess when I sleep process and try to like update my thoughts, I guess I look and see what happened, and try to come to like a conclusion based on that. But because it's like I don't really remember I can only remember like the concepts and the vague what happened in an overview sense. I can't. It's hard to do that.
Okay. Could you give me an example or like a hypothetical of something you might be sleep processing and then you might be using the past to try to figure that out?
Yeah. For example, like if I'm trying to process like what childhood trauma happened to me that would lead to something. So one of my behaviors in the present, I would be like, I would try to look back and see anything if anything happened that stood out. But it's like my memory of the past, especially my childhood's like so blurry. And it's like the glimpses that I do remember are just situations that happen. So maybe I would remember like how my parents didn't let me play video games or something, because I don't remember what they said. I don't know what they did. I just remember the vague like, oh, they didn't let me play video games.
Right. So if you have like an issue in the present, like you're some kind of behavior, your immediate was to look back in the past and see how it connects to that and what might be like. Is that
if Possibly, yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Do you do that as well?
No, not really. But I think that's smart though, because I think like, yeah, probably a lot of problematic behaviors are going to be linked to
Mhm.
things that happened to you in the past. I think that makes perfect sense. No, I usually look at like, what is my present state reasoning? What happened immediately, around that? I wouldn't think like that deeply into the past, but I think that like, I mean, it's what therapists do, right? A lot of times, if you have an issue, they look back into your past. I think that makes a lot of sense, actually. But
Yeah.
no, that's not my natural way of thinking of it. No, not so much.
I guess I also try to just problems in the present. I feel like a lot of the time I just have to talk it out with someone else, or try to like just kind of use my own understanding of what I already know, or um, talk to someone else and get like the tribe opinion or like other possibilities of what I could be interpreting.
That makes sense. Oh, that's good. So you go to the tribe and get input. I need to do that more
It's
often.
definitely something I had to learn because in the past I didn't. I was too scared to do it.
Yeah, it is
Felt
scary, right?
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it does help more than you would think, right? Like when you first started doing it, you're like, oh, this is actually really good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So
You think that you'd think that like, oh, the tribe's gonna hate you because you're doing it, but then almost every time like you come out like feeling better because of it.
yeah, totally. Or that they're going to give you like a weird reaction to you. Bring it up and it's going to be awkward. Then you're going to feel awkward. And then
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't want to do all that. Yeah. Yeah. It's a lesson to learn, right? Especially with Demon FE. So yeah, you mentioned that you like the details, like you have a hard time remembering those, but you have masculine inni. So there's something around inni that you are remembering. And I know it's defined as concepts or overviews. Like, what does that specifically look like? Like, what are you actually remembering?
I remember I imagine the visuals.
Okay.
It's like if I were to recall something that happened, I would recall like I guess like see it's hard because like the Annie's last.
It's
But I
like
would
it's almost
recall
like I'm
like
still asking for details in a way, right? Yeah, maybe it's a hard
yeah.
question. But yeah.
I don't know how to like my it's like I can't recall any details. It's like I have to recall some pattern that I saw in the past
Mm-hmm.
or some
Okay.
vague understanding. Like, let me
Okay.
try to give an example. I think if I were to see why I am, if someone else is like mean, then I would be like grab my intuitive understanding of psychology or something of how maybe they're having a tidal wave because that's a concept, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'll tie that to the concept of okay, like what kind of tidal wave, possibly like a demon DE tidal wave because they uh, said this thing or that's how they reacted. So then I'd kind of just use those connections of what I already know conceptually to draw conclusions to certain things I'm seeing.
Okay.
Probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but
I mean, yeah, I mean, it makes sense, but I don't know of any other way to do it. In that case, right? Like, what would
yeah,
be
'cause
the
you have
opposite?
masculine sensory, right? So it's like
Yeah.
you kind of have to draw upon like the facts, and then you kind of get an understanding based on those facts rather than the other way
Right.
around.
Right. Yeah. Totally. But to see or even come up with them having a tidal wave or whatever, you have to know what they're doing or like facts first, right? To go and say, oh, it's a tidal wave
Um,
because they said this and they did
yeah,
this.
I can see the facts as they're happening, but then they're
Mhm.
like fleeting. Like I see them and then I forget them. I see them and I forget them.
Okay. So it just kind of comes to you in a way, like, oh, this must be a tidal wave. I don't remember what they
Yeah,
did, but that feels tidal wavy, I guess.
it does. Yeah.
Okay. No, okay, that does make sense. Yeah. I guess if it were me, it's like, okay, they did this, and this. What do all those things have in common? Oh, tidal wave. something like that.
Mhm. Oh,
I
okay,
guess
that
it'd be
makes
the
sense.
SE way. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. And what was I going to say? I think this always happens to me on this podcast. I feel like I have something to say, and I'm like, and then we have a pause for like 30 seconds,
Mhm.
and then I can't remember it, and they're like, okay, next question.
No, me too. Me too.
Your blast last as well, so I'm sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can relate. What about blast last? That's a good question. How was that in
Last.
your when you were young? Was there a
I
lot of
mean, you
blast
could
last
probably
going
already see
on, or
it,
were you?
but it just in conversation it just feels like I don't know. I struggle communicating sometimes. It feels like I stutter a lot because of that, because I'm like trying to gather thoughts and then they're not gathered. They're not, they're not coming into something I can say to someone else. So then it just comes off as like some random ramble or like just some of my sleep processing. And then in terms of like creating things, it's like I really have to think about distilling information down in a way that I can communicate it. So feels like if I were to teach about like op or something, I would, well, it's like have to learn about it like over an over amount before I can say anything about it.
Oh
And
yeah,
then,
yeah, I know what that's like.
and I would also have to talk to the tribe, do demon fight, and it feels like after not until like after I've done all that, I can finally say like I don't know one sentence about what I was learning.
Oh, that's cool. So you do like if you did have to teach something, you would go to the tribe first to like, I guess, run them through it or to get feedback on that.
I would feel more comfortable, feel more confident about the information if I talk to the tribe about it first.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That's a good way. It's a good way to go about it. So yeah, it feels like you go through all your animals before you get to blasting away, right? Sleep, consume, play, and then you're ready.
Yeah, but so little information actually gets to the blast.
Yeah, can relate. Yeah, it feels like you gotta. No, it feels like you're loading like this giant gun with just stuffing it with information, and then you finally pull the trigger, and it's just like.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, just that's kind of funny in a way. We actually have some messages in the chat. Okay, wow, we've had a pretty active chat actually. Thanks to Nate. What's up, Nate? It's good to see you, man. Oh, it's good you're here because so like I don't know if you know Nate, but Nate is TISI, so I'm sure he'll have a lot of.
Oh really? Oh,
things
cool.
a lot of things he probably relates to here, and yes, that's cool. So I feel you, Mingdi, on the SI plan not going to plan. Feels like I'm a failure. I missed something, even though I figured it was. That sucks when a plan blows up. Nah, I think for everyone, but for y'all, maybe it's more like, damn.
But that's more of a decider spin, I think, to it.
Let's see. It feels like because it feels like I guess because he says he feels like a failure, like in front of the tribe sort of thing, or yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Nate, do you have the intrusive? Oh, there you go. Actually, you mentioned it. It's still thinking, and he does more. Yeah. Okay.
Intrusive thinking. Wait, is Nate double feminine too?
No, he's MF.
MF.
He's masculine sensory.
I think people with masculine sensory SI would also have those, but maybe they wouldn't be as intense, not as solid and real. It just feels like some vague anxiety of like possible intrusive thoughts.
Yeah, or I guess femininity would just be like, oh, what was that? Oh, I forgot it already. Oh, there it is again.
Yeah.
More confusing, I guess. Kind of like with feminine, like Effie, or I don't know if you relate to that, but like your feelings are just kind of like they change every like couple seconds or every minute. Like they just change on a whim for no reason, right? They're just there and then they're gone, and then. Do you feel like you like lack consistency in your own feelings, or can you relate to that?
Lack consistency of my own feelings.
Yeah, like it just
Like in what way?
I think actually in a really good way is in like dating or relationships. You might feel one day one thing, and then a different thing the next day, and then you don't really know how you feel because it's like, well, how I was on
Yeah.
Tuesday or Wednesday because they're different. You know what I mean?
Feel that somewhat.
Yeah.
Definitely, like the feelings, just they're moving all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it helps just not bottling it in, because it's like I feel like the TI will override it, and then I just become more unaware of it, and it can bottle up. If I get
Right.
it out somehow, then it kind of makes me realize what I'm actually like feeling.
Yeah, for sure. If you're in TI land, the feelings take a back, or they just, I don't know, they're back there somewhere, but you're not paying attention to them. Right? You got work to do. Feels like.
Yeah.
What's up, Ron? SI, familiar world. That's why they wrongly say it is about the past. It is actually about stuff you already attached to. You want to preserve this familiarity, which leads to a drive to protect. How do you feel about that? Do you agree with
That
that?
makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. How it's like, well, it is an OI function, right? So you are going back to your known info, and because it's known info in the sensory, it would make sense that it would be from the past.
Mm-hmm.
Because
yeah, this is a good way of putting it. It feels like, yeah, it's actually about stuff you're already attached to. Preserve this familiarity. Yeah, do you feel like SI is more attached to things? Like y'all have your stuff, and you don't want it to change, and you don't want people to mess with it. Do you feel like there's an attached to like material objects? Do you feel like it goes into that as well?
No, I feel like that's more of an FI thing.
Is it more an FI thing?
I don't feel attached to objects, but I do feel like if someone were to like come into my IJ box, especially like for me, it's kind of my room. It's like if someone comes in, I don't want them messing around and creating too much chaos.
Yeah.
In it. But even then, it's like if it does happen, like I can just organize everything back, so it's not that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels intrusive. I feel that way about my room as well, but probably other reasons for that. Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, thanks, Ron. That was a good explanation. I think Justin, I like the way socionics describes SI as more of wanting to be comfortable, like you said, familiar. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So he co-signs on what Ron said.
Comfortable.
The attached part is important. SI randomly attaches itself to the sensor. Yeah, we talked about this too in our podcast a bit. Like, yeah, do you? Nate, I'm probably going to butcher this, but you'll find things in reality that you're kind of narrowed into like this particular thing, and it'll have all kinds of meaning. Not like in an FI way necessarily, but this particular thing will be special in some kind of environment. I don't know. It's kind of an abstract way of talking about that. Do you relate to that at all, or?
SI randomly attaches itself to sensor. Yeah. I guess I can see myself like attaching. I mean, I don't know if this counts, but like I guess the op parts as a part of your identity. I'm not sure what he's trying. If that's what he's trying to, or is he saying like this water bottle, like I would be attached to it, or I would see it as a part of myself.
I'll have to ask Nate. I think he's still watching. Maybe he'll write something. But oh wait, well, don't touch my whiskey. So maybe there's an SI attachment.
Okay. I feel like, yeah. Okay. I feel like if you
person. Okay.
If you have something that is maybe if something that I really valued, then I'd be like, be careful with that or something.
Okay.
But materially wise, I don't feel like there's really anything that, other than my phone or something. Like, I don't want people like touching my phone. I don't know.
Well, you have like information on there, right?
Yeah.
It's more like, I have special protection over certain things just because I know if somebody fucks with it, it's going to fuck my life up. That's it. Not that there's like an attachment to it in and of itself, but it's like, I don't want you messing with stuff. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Cool. So, it's kind of a weird question. Do you like, so for me, I had like kind of a major turning point with FE. I won't go into all of it in my life when I was really young, when I was in college, and just wasn't getting along with my roommates and blah blah blah. And I kind of had this FE moment of like, oh, I've actually just been a dick the whole time, and I didn't realize it until just now. And then I completely changed from there on out and kind of almost reinvented myself because of that. Do you feel like you've had those kind of moments in your life, or one day you just hit a wall and you're like, fuck, I gotta really change?
I feel like it's not as much of a realization, but just like over time, it's like, okay, like after every time I realize I'm doing too much DI, I'm like, okay, I have to ramp up a FE a little bit more, and then a little bit more after that. So it's kind of like building FE slowly rather than one big realization about it.
Okay, gotcha. So you get, I guess, signals along the way where you like, there's some kind of warning system built in there. It's like, okay, we're over
Warning
TI.
system. Yeah, I just kind of see, I from time to time I just kind of check in with the people around me in the tribe. It's like, are the vibes kind of off? Like, then maybe it's like I'm doing something wrong,
Gotcha.
or I'm being too selfish, focused on myself, basically.
Yeah, sounds like double deciding. Yeah, I kind of feel like that with NI as well, where just your life just keeps going towards OA. You're like, oh, okay, it's getting bad. I better come back, and then it's just a constant battle all the time, right? Yeah, totally.
So checking in with FE is it doesn't happen as much. Like it doesn't feel as much of a need to do that like constantly for you.
There are periods where I feel like I am engaging it, and then I'll go off into fucking work or like some project or just whatever. And then somebody will message me and be like, "Hey, where the fuck are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, what was I doing? I gotta, okay, sorry, like I gotta." So like the tribe will slap me occasionally or write me an angry message or something. Like, okay, fuck that. So yeah, the tribe has to wrangle me back in sometimes when I should be wrangling myself back in. You know what I mean? Like there's really close people I just haven't talked to in 5 months or something, and they're like, "Hello, you didn't answer my text," or something like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, trying to be better about that. But the whole double deciding thing, that's not the easiest. But
it's kind of hard for me too because like I'm like my FE's only activated my play and blast, so sometimes I feel like I'm not doing that good of a job because I don't know. Sometimes I'm unaware of it, I guess, too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is there a parallel with like with SI and INI? Like what is the wake up call for you with that? Would you say? Or like, so for me, it's when the tribe writes me an angry message. Is there like an INI version of that?
For me, it's when anything to do with people, I'm planning. Like my brain will naturally plan out everything. So it's like whenever there's something I'm starting to do my SI towards something that is unpredictable, that's when it's like the warning call of okay, I shouldn't. Or if I feel really certain about a particular thing. But sometimes it's really hard to catch. Like sometimes I'm completely unaware of something I'm single observing on, and it's not until I realize that it's the actual reality of the observation was not what I was expecting that I get hit.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you actually already kind of gave me an example now I think of it. But yeah, and essentially it's you way over organizing something and then it just blows up in your face and you're like, oh shit, okay, I should have done something with this anything.
Sometimes it's not even organizing, it's just like having a way of seeing something. Like it's like like I'm sure I could single observe on maybe like, for example, Christianity or I don't know, anything. I can single observe on like how my university prof is the best prof ever, and then something happens and it's like, oh, they actually suck, and that can cause any tidal wave, surprisingly.
Okay, it's like how did I not see this coming?
Yeah, I didn't expect that. Like someone I looked up to actually is an asshole and is yeah.
Yeah, that can be weird, right? It can be pretty jarring. It's like makes you rethink your whole ability to like understand people or concepts or whatever when something just hits you in the face. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm sure anyone can relate to that. In some belief or ideology, or it could be a person or whatever, turns out to be something you didn't think it was.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, how did I get tricked by that?
You know? Catch you off guard. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So do you feel like OP's helped you? Do you feel like you've grown from being in the community or knowing your type? Or has it been helpful at all?
For sure. I think it's one of the things that helped me the most out of all the things. Like I remember reading a lot of like self-help books and stuff, and like sure those were pretty good, but I think because something about op, like it's just a lot easier to use consistently in reality. A lot of self-help books is like they help your problem. It's like they solve a behavior, but not like an actual like permanent solution.
Yeah.
And it feels like op is a lot more permanent because you're always gonna be your type. You're gonna always have like the similar like the kind of same problems over time, but just learning how to deal with them better and better over time is something that really helps.
Yeah, and did you feel like it's like because most like self-help books, I guess they explain a bit, but they're kind of like what you said. Here's the problem. Here's what you do. Count backwards from 5 whenever you don't want to procrastinate.
Yeah.
Or shit that is.
And
whereas LP's not like telling you how to solve your problems, but it's like helping you understand why you have the problem.
Your reoccurring patterns. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I feel like it's helped me better than any like self-help book. I mean, they've never really helped me, to be honest. I've read millions of them and I feel great afterwards. I'm like, all right, I got it. I got the secret to the world now. I just gotta drink water right when I wake up. Duh. It like helps your immune system, blah, blah, blah. It increases dopamine in your brain. I'm gonna be just conquering the world now. Or just
whatever. You kind of forget about it. Or maybe it becomes like
or it just stops working, or you just whatever, and then on to the next one. It's like a drug addiction almost, because like you do get a hit from it. You're like, okay, everything makes sense now. I got this. But yeah, OP doesn't really make you feel like that, or at least I didn't make me feel like that. Was, okay, I got everything figured out now. It's more like, wait, what? Like that's how that works? Wait, people do this because they value stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super cool. So what would you say you're doing now to like help you grow, if anything? Do you have any like routines, ideas, things you keep in mind, or like what's
I guess I don't know. Trying to keep myself accountable. Like the error log thing that Dave and Shen were talking about in one of their live streams. I'm not sure if you.
I haven't seen a lot of their live stuff. No, what's the airlock thing?
Basically, it's just tracking your triggerings. Like if you're like lead TI and it's like every so often you feel like not good enough, the tribe hates you. It's like you write that down. You write down like your what's triggering you, and then you write down kind of like why the OP math of what's causing it. And then I also kind of write like what I can do about it. Like, so if it's a decider, like it's a TI problem, then I'll write the double deciding of the FE as the resolution of it. Yeah. And then, so instead of like having it just kind of like be at the back of your mind, and it kind of like, makes you feel, it just kind of like drags you down a little bit because it distracts you from the present.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and imagine writing it out probably helps you actually process it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what is it called again? The airlock method?
Error log. Yeah.
Oh, airlog. Oh, error log? Airlog?
Error log.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha. Okay, I don't know why.
I think they mentioned it in
They have,
their
yeah. Some people mentioned that, yeah.
Consciousness live stream. Yeah.
Okay.
That was a good
Error
live stream,
log.
by the way.
Was it? Okay, maybe I should watch it.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't been missing a lot of their content lately. I gotta get back on it.
What do you usually like do like during like for growth or just like in general these days?
It'd be a whole list. The biggest thing that I'm doing right now is a 2-hour meditation walk where I just focus on my feelings and my emotional state. It's been the biggest thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's made a huge difference, and it's helped a lot. Literally just feeling stuff, just paying attention to it for a long stretch of time has almost like a weird psychedelic effect. Like it's actually really crazy. That's the biggest thing. Yeah. All right. Well, cool. Yeah, the error log sounds like a good, like a helpful thing. And I'm glad you had like an ST for it. I feel like sometimes if you ask, not necessarily on the show, but you ask people like, yeah, what are you doing to grow or whatever? Like, I'm just trying to stay positive or things like that.
For sure. Yeah, it's so ST of me to do to
that's what I want, so that's perfect.
But it works, it works.
Yeah. I think Nate have a question. Let me see. Does guessing with any feel difficult? Is it comfortable? Is it something you try to work on?
That's a good question. Yeah, it feels difficult sometimes. Sometimes because it's like at the bottom, I feel like what I'm seeing is definitely true, but then at the same time, I also feel like it's probably wrong if I do guess. And then even if I have enough sensory proof, sometimes even after that, it feels like maybe I'm not completely sure if I'm right about my guess. Definitely working on it though, like to make it feel more comfortable. I guess trying to just throw out random guesses, but be okay that they might not be completely accurate, and also trying to, I guess, I'm not sure. It's still something I'm trying to figure out how to do. But I try to work on just visualizing sometimes, because I think visualizing helps me get into the intuition.
Yeah, I guess being double feminine,
something
you're probably
like that.
more of a visual person, I would guess, right? Or
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's just, being a sensor, man. It's I'm a little surprised though. I figured with masculine intuition though, it would be a bit easier for you to like kind of double down on your guesses. Is it just certain types of guesses, or like is there a
like, for example, when I'm like trying to type someone, at first I'll have like a really big bias. Like it's like I feel like my NE comes up a lot when I'm typing someone. A lot of the times I just completely ignore my guesses, and then I stick to the guesses that are the wrong guesses, because maybe something they sensory said. It feels like I'm distracted by all the sensory around, that I fail to see the underlying intuition sometimes, which is something I'm trying to work on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, getting especially. You get stuck on the sensor stuff, right? Like, and you're just like, well, this one thing happened. They said this, blah blah blah.
They said that. Yeah.
It's like, well, my intuition says something else. No. There's no sensory for that. Let's get that out of there. I'm not paying attention.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Roni Rigatoni. I'm very much. It actually looks like complete. Oh, actually, it doesn't look that bad on the stream. But if you saw it in real life, I think it's just the lighting makes it look not as horrible, but it looks like a
Yeah, it
wannabe
looks
afro.
good.
It's trying to be an afro, but it's not quite getting there. And in the back, it just kind of lumps over. But thank you. I'm like diminishing your compliment here, but I appreciate it.
Do you like make your hair?
No, this is just what it
product?
does. It just does.
Oh, that's
that.
good. That's nice.
Yeah.
My natural hair.
Well, if I do this,
bad,
it'll
like,
fluff it out like crazy.
Oh.
Now it's a problem. Wait, let me see if I can get it back. Not quite back, but that'll do. I had to put it under like a hat or something for a bit, and then it kind of like goes down, and that's all I do. I put it under a hat. Yeah.
Yeah,
Too
my hair's
lazy.
always too straight, so it feels like I wish it was a bit more curly.
You know, that's what Roni's saying. Well, like, okay, so I think the thing when you have like wavy hair, it can just kind of look good by itself, but you can't. You have no choice. You can't do nothing to it. So if it does look bad, that's just it. There's nothing you can do because it's too.
Yeah.
It's just a glob of just.
You can't make it straight if you wanted to.
No, I mean you could. Yeah, you could get it, I guess, permed out. I've never done that.
But it looks like really nice and thick though, which is good.
Yeah, it's just like as old as I am, it hasn't fallen out yet, so that's good. I'm grateful for that. Did I seduce Nate coming in with a question? Does it feel like you never have enough sensory? I guess for your guesses, right?
To do it, does it feel like I never have enough sensory to do it? Yeah, for sure. It's like I always have to be I need like complete sensor clarity on what. Like even when I'm answering these questions, like sometimes I'm like, what does that actually mean in sensory terms?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But I'm trying to just get the gist of what the question's trying to say, and sometimes I'm still wrong, but at least it's like banging on people for the sensory sometimes kind of annoys them. I feel, which is why I don't try to do it as much anymore.
Like, what were the exact words or the exact
what exact words and what does that exactly mean and like why and like stuff like that.
Yeah. If you ask an SE for that, they'll be like, "Get out! Like, I don't know. Get out of here." Like, I'm a censor, but I just know I don't know the exact. Yeah, that makes, especially with being like, I would imagine with consume as well. Say for consume, you need to take more sensory in, right? To some degree, probably doesn't help. Or do you continue? Oh, sorry, I should have put this out there too. Do you continually dwell in SI trying to find the answer? I guess you
continually dwell on the SI. Yeah. A lot of the time, I'm not even aware I'm doing it. Like I'm trying to just pick specific sensory things and like go deeper and deeper into that and be like, okay, it's the answers are in there in what they said.
Oh, okay.
Even though, and then ignoring everything else. But I think having savior consume kind of helps me look at other patterns, but still it's definitely something that it just happens.
Oh yeah, because your consume is in E, so it's different, I guess, right? I'm thinking consume is taking in patterns. That's also a weird one. I don't know how that works. All right. Our boy Ron. Female ISFJs often have issues with narcissists wanting to protect the relationship to their narcissistic parent or partner. They get triggered a lot as the other does not care. So also for males. So issues with narcissists, like not in the relationship itself, but like to their parents specifically, or
to protect.
There's another, maybe this protecting familiar relationships even when the other person might not care about this harmony.
Yeah, definitely been there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think being SI, it's like when someone I like someone, then it's like I feel committed, but then I don't know. I'm not sure if that's an ISFJ behavior or if it's more just. I'm not sure. But
yeah, I feel like I've seen something like this with, like, not with SI specifically, but like OI and FE. for sure. They'll go a long time, even though like everyone's telling them, "Yo, this relationship, it's not so good for you."
They don't care as much.
Yeah, or even with EJs will do that too. Maybe just an FE thing. I don't know. Maybe just being savior FE. I would imagine.
I think so.
That's hard to say.
But I don't have savior FE, so
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. All right.
I don't think I've had that many run-ins with narcissists though.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know. I don't think they're as common as the internet makes it out to be. 10 signs to know you're dating with a narcissist? It's like, has he lied to you? It's like, yes. Oh, he's a narcissist. Like, God. All right, cool. Well, I got the last question for you, and this one will be interesting. I asked if you wanted the questions beforehand. Just make a note of that. All right. All right. So, what is your last functions spirit animal? If you come up with either an actual animal or a Pokemon or something, what do you think would represent masculine demon NE for you?
Masculine NE demon. I think an animal, like.
By the way, anyone watching that has any more questions for Mingdi, please write them in, because we're probably going to be closing off here probably soon. So,
some chaotic animal.
yeah,
I'm not sure. I should have thought of. Yeah,
I should have just sent you this question. I should have known in the future, like, okay, he's probably going to struggle with this one because anyone would, just having that sprung onto them. Well, I tell you what. So here's a go. Maybe this will help you think. So. I don't know if you know Rose SIFE.
Yeah.
But she has masculine NE last. Hers was a raccoon. Getting into things and, getting into chaos and getting into trouble and all that stuff.
Only at night, though.
Yeah. That's when the NE comes out.
No
maybe in your case, maybe on Discord, I guess, right?
Yeah, I guess that would be a good one.
All right.
That would be a good one.
So
if I have a better one, I'll let you know.
Okay, yeah, I'll put it in the comments. Write it on there. Cool. Well, if no one has any more questions, Mingdi, do you have any other questions or anything you want to say before we end it? Do you have a channel or anything I should shout out either? Or
I recently made this this channel for ops typing, but I haven't really been posting that much. Just for typing and ops.
Okay.
Just trying to understand the coins, but
yeah, send it over to me. I'll put it in the description.
Okay, sure.
Cool. Yeah. Any other questions or anything to? I'm putting you on the spot here. Probably not, right?
What social type are you? I'm curious.
Probably a 4. So
4?
Dave thinks I'm at least save your friends, or at least that's what he told somebody. But I haven't gotten my type yet. So 4 or 2.
Yeah, I was thinking 4 or 2 too. You seem like save your friends, but yeah, I know like Chase. He seems more save your friends, so which is why I think you could be a 2 too. I think Chase is a 4.
I can see that with him. Yeah, totally. Yeah, friendly guy. I mean, he even reached out to me just out of nowhere to chat and all that stuff. And I feel like that's rare for an IP, like usually to do that.
It is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, especially Blast Last. Yeah. Yeah, that could be.
That's cool.
Oh, sorry. There's one more message from Ron here. I met a few ISFJs before, and many of them mentioned troubles they had with other people, and it strongly sounded like narcissists, a one-sided care on their side.
Yeah, I definitely had one situation like that about a year ago. But that's about it.
Yeah, I would imagine a narcissist would, or they would be somebody that a narcissist would try to take advantage of, right? I guess with an ISFJ, I know these are stereotypes, but ISFJs are supposed to be pretty caring, people in general, and you have them double deciding, so they're also going to make excuses for you. So I could imagine that a narcissist would try to.
I'm a blast last ISFJ though, so I don't know.
So it's different for you, I think, right? Yeah, probably
A bit different. But yeah, I think a correlation with narcissism is more about being a number. I think there's a correlation between narcissism and number one or savior ego.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I've seen anyone that is not savior ego that's a narcissist, but I don't have enough SI evidence for it. It's just something I'm guessing.
Yeah, I wish they would release that stuff. I mean, it's gonna, the tribe's gonna come for them if their type happens to be the narcissist type, right? And then that's gonna be trouble. So they probably won't do it. But love to see that. I was an ISFJ, and they had like the full type, buddy, and it got around, and then I'm not Hitler. Oh my god.
His blast is very like.
Oh man, I mean,
I think he's a number one. I mean, like
he's some kind of ego there, right? It'd be funny if he was save your friends. That would make it even more, I think, interesting. Hitler just wanted to have his friends. That's all. That's why he did it.
There's no way.
Well, here's what they need to do. They need to like put out like an asshole for each type. You know what I mean? Or like some kind of personality disorder for everyone. That way it's all even, right? Nobody will get mad if everyone has like one there, right? Just put them all out at once. Hopefully no one gets mad and it's fine.
It's definitely bad good things and bad things about every type.
Yeah, and it doesn't like, I mean, I think just because Hitler is the same type, it just like does not mean that you're Hitler. Well, hopefully not. Who knows? Maybe maybe an ISFJ out there is Hitler, but probably not.
Yeah. I think there's like good number ones and obviously good ISFJs.
Yeah, it's good and bad in every type. Yeah, everyone has their craziness. All right, well, cool. Well, hey man, thanks so much for coming on. Glad to have you here. I learned a bit more what it's like to have, I think SI, and then hearing it from like a TI, having it like a TI tint to it was interesting. And learning a bit more about demon and E and intrusive thoughts and all that. So it was really good. So appreciate it, man. Thanks everyone that watched and for the questions and for the input. Really appreciate it. And
thanks for having me on. It was really fun.
Of course, man. I had a great time.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone take it easy. See you next time on episode 33 or something like that.
See ya.